Ah, my dear Phelan, your decision to stop by that tavern on the way back from Redmark was surely some divine intervention by Lorethian herself. For I can simply not shift that bard's melody from my head. Oh, 'tis almost a curse that human liquor has so little effect on we elves. Otherwise his words may have become muddled and lost to the night air, rather than buzzing through my head like the bees in these fields. They do come up with some awfully catchy verses, though, these human minstrels, I will say. It'd certainly give Phil Varel a run for his money, though of course don't tell him I said that. Oh, gracious, it is like a spell hexed upon my mind, that I must cast out into the air in order to be free from its incessant merriment. Come now, arm yourselves with instruments. Let us pave the road ahead of us with string and song. For I fear it's the only way to be free of it. All right, ready? Let's see if I still remember the words, shall we? Fly far away over mountains and seas, to lands and kingdoms far beyond. Return with fire to the halls of might. Let the flames of the forge burn bright. So behold the flight of the sapphire dragon, soaring through the skies once again. For the fallen ones we will ride into the sky, riding over the rainbow's light. For the flames of magic we will rise again in the battle of arcane might. For the fallen ones we will ride into the sky, riding over the rainbow's light. For the flames of magic we will rise again in the battle of arcane might. Oh, very good, Phelan, very good. Wings over fallen skies, wings over distant lands, stars passing by through ages and time, far away into the past, there and back again. Carry on until the end. Over mountains, valleys, storm clouds, over oceans of time we fly. La, 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 Oh, simply marvelous. Ah, still catchy, and still stuck in my head. Oh, what have we here? Hark, stranger. What's this? A solitary wanderer walking lone along the road to Caledon. Hello? Look here, fellows. We have before us a scholar, so engrossed in the words of the arcane that all the wonders of the world would fade away before them. Oh, no, don't apologize. Ah, a human, too. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I am Gilderoy, Elven connoisseur of quests, bookkeeping, and if I may be so bold, the silver voice of the Gilded Griffin Inn. What has you out here, so far between rests, with no horse nor carriage to accompany you? Ah, a budding sorcerer. So you'll be heading to the Mages Guild in Caledon, I presume? To meet with your new mentor. How exciting. I understand now why your eyes were so fixed upon your tome, wanting to make a good impression and all. If I may say, though, getting lost in the spells and pages of the past might cause you to miss the enchantment of the here and now. Worry not, for Caledon holds wonders that even the most devout scholars cannot ignore. The blue-crested towers, the cobbled streets, nothing quite like it. For me, there is no sight like home, however, and I do long for our company's inn after our many weeks of travel. Oh, yes, the Gilded Griffin. Pray, our reputation precedes. You're familiar with it? Ah, only their association with the Mages Guild. Yes, we've had some rather pleasant, and dare I say lucrative, dealings with them over the years. Perhaps you're familiar with Yolanda the Healer? Oh, marvellous. What a small world we live in nowadays. Anyway, all this chit-chat aside, what I'm getting at is, would you, perchance, like to join our humble caravan for the remainder of your journey? We are few in number, and the more the merrier. I mean, we don't have any spare horses, but there is certainly space in our cart that you could place yourself. And I tend to travel with comfort in mind for our camps, so there's blankets and cushions aplenty to rest upon. I assure you, you'd be quite comfortable. I mean, it's not like we're transporting wyverns or scale crabs back there anyway. Oh well, not today, right, Ayla? Payment? Oh no, my dear, don't trouble yourself with such material concerns. Any friend of the Mages Guild is a friend of mine. All I ask is you pass along a good word for me with Yolanda. I could certainly do with a bulk discount on some of her healing salves for the guild. Oh, don't mind the horses. Elas won't hurt you. He's a rather simple soul. Wouldn't hurt a fly. What's that? Afraid of horses. How quaint. I'm beginning to understand why you were out here on foot as you were. But never mind that now. Get back there and make yourself comfortable. Phelan can help you move anything that's in the way. But do mind your step. There we go. We have at least until the sun reaches the crest of the sky before we arrive at Caledon. Rest your eyes, if you will. That is, if your poor book can stand surviving without your adoring gaze for but a moment. Enjoy the smells, the sounds, the gentle rocking of the cart along this well-travelled road as we make our way along this fine day. The path here is safe, as we are quite far from Mid-Pond, or anywhere else that evil lurks, and the season is blooming. There's no better time to enjoy the countryside, you know. Cast your gaze up at the bright blue sky, the vibrant green leaves of the trees that pass overhead, dappling warm sunlight over your skin. I will let you know when we arrive, so empty your mind and live in the moment for a while. You'd know, What's that, Phelan? You are right. Apologies, I do tend to get rather chatty on these long journeys. Perhaps our new friend would better appreciate some silence for a while, it is true. Honestly, I must say, Phelan, you wound me ever so deeply when you cut me down like that. But perhaps it is best for the gardener's shears to reap down the overgrowing vine before it brings down the wall, so to speak. All right, as you were. La na 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 na. Oh, I see you've discovered my old bow. Quite the magician indeed. I suppose you sense the enchantments gracing its elder wood and twine. Oh no, it's fine. A relic from my days as an adventurer. Not just a tool of the trade, but a symbol of the life I once lived before. Retiring, shall we say. Alas, I've traded my bow for ledgers. You recall I said I work with the Gilded Griffin Inn, specifically the Mercenaries Guild that it hosts. Well, I assist in the accounting and collection of quests for adventurers to take on this region over. Tracking down bounties and sorting out parties to take on jobs. The puppet master behind the scenes, if you will. A manager in title, perhaps, but truly Sasha's right hand in all things. Perhaps you've heard of her. She's a mighty witch in her own right, you know. Well, she and I are actually the original founders of the Gilded Griffin, don't you know? For I, Gilderoy Cloverleaf, was a member of her party that took down the griffin that attacked the city upon our arrival all those years ago. I'd love to regale the whole tale to you in all its splendid glory, but Phelan is giving me that look again that I'm rambling. Suffice to say that after all the adventures we'd been through, we were both at a point where retiring off the more hands-on work was quite appealing, and thus the Gilded Griffin and the Mercenaries Guild was formed in Caledon. Most other members went on their own separate ways, some coming back, of course, every now and then to actually pick up some of the jobs that we ourselves procured. Sasha was, of course, infinitely lucky to retain my charms, especially in those early days. You see, she can come across a bit blunt when it comes to diplomacy and management, which, while that does have its uses, having someone with a bit more nuance and a silver tongue can be rather helpful in setting up and securing a profitable business venture in the capital. And now, as you can see, myself and my fellows here ride out every other moon to neighbouring towns, villages, cities, and all in between to gather quests, hear tell of rumours, and centralise all questing business in the region. You see all those papers back there with you are either monster bounties, requests from wizard folk searching for rare artefacts, or even the odd indictment from nobility to bring in lawless folk. Once we collect all we can, we rejoin here on the main road to Caledon and finish our journey. Fortunate indeed we came across you. Perhaps there is some reason for that. And there's a little bit of adventure waiting for you too in Caledon. Who knows? Say, Traveller, speaking of bounties, I don't suppose you're familiar with any spells that can track magical artifacts? I know that traditional magic is contradictively useless on certain enchanted objects, requiring more traditional approaches to locate them. Unfortunate. Well, there was one particular nobleman I met in Stonewall that, well, suffice to say, he needed a certain magical item of great importance returned to his possession. And as far as my experience goes, only certain folk are naturally equipped to track down such things when magic is no use. Yes, are you familiar with wolfkin? Exquisite sense of smell. Could track a person halfway across a continent if need be. An astute question. There is indeed a mercenary of the Gilded Griffin who hails from that folk. The issue with hiring a wolfkin, however, is that this artifact is rumored to have been moved over the border into a region that doesn't take too well to non-humans. A certain level of subtlety would be required to lay low, and as a lone traveller, hooded or otherwise, he would be quickly found. He would need to be paired with a very normal-looking human to blend in, I imagine, not a mage or any sort of adventurer. And this fellow is a bit of a stick of the mud when it comes to working alongside anyone, especially humans. Quite the antisocial fellow, you know? Oh well, perhaps you can pass along the request to Yolanda, the Mages Guild, when you arrive, and she can find some spell after all. Anyway, enough of my ramblings. Look! We've arrived unto the flower fields of the Caledon Flats. The bees are abuzz, petals stray about in the light breeze, and the air smells of such sweet fragrance. Let us still the air of our voices, and allow our nectar-loving friends to sing their own songs. Hark! This stream marks the final leg of our journey. It will lead us to its very mouth at the gates of Caledon. We still have a fair while before we arrive, though, so I shall leave you to your own devices before Phelan gives me any harsh looks when I start going on again. When we arrive, you can talk to Gulliver at the gate, and he can get you a map of the city to help lead you around. And of course, you're always welcome by the Gilded Griffin if you ever have need for a mercenary, or you just want a spot of tea. I'd love to show you the city myself, but I am a very busy elf. But perchance our paths will cross again one day. Either way, I'm glad we happened upon you this fine day. The world is better experienced with others after all. Now, relax. The sun wishes to bathe us in its warmth and recite a cascade of song upon us as it shimmers off the river water.